Hey there, how you doing? Charlie Winters here with selections for Saturday, the 18th of February. Well, first, a quick recap and a very brief recap. Well, disappointing day Friday. The first bet, the afternoon bet was, I won't say unlucky. It was unfortunate that we couldn't quite get another one placed. Then we would have made a profit on the bet. Unfortunately, there wasn't really enough horses placed to obviously make it a profitable bet. And then the evening bet, the fancied horses, the one that I really liked, I left them at SP and they were backed in. And then in the end, they weren't each way prices. We had a non-runner, two placed. I think one was back down. I think the Nigel Twist and Davis Flat horse at Southall was back down. I think it was 12s at one point. I'm not sure. But throughout the day, it ended up 100 to 30 favourite. And unfortunately, it came second. So yeah, I think we managed to get around about a tenner back. I'm not sure, but it hardly matters now. So let's get into Saturday's horse racing selections. So the first bet, as you can see, this bet it's one of those bets where it's unlikely to come up. It's unlikely to come up. I've gone for huge prices that I think the horses are interested. I'm not going to go through the horses. I'm just going to read them out. So basically, what the bet is, it comes to a fiver. So the first bet is a big outsider bet. The second bet is ones I fancy more on form and slightly shorter prices. And then the last horse racing bet, is my main bet of the day. And then finally, it's my football selections. So the first bet is a 10 pence each way Yankee. Then I've gone for 35 pence each way singles. First selection is Town Hill. Don't take the price. Well, I haven't taken the price in the 120 at Ascot. The second selection is Saint Xavier in the 240 at Haydock, paying 5 places instead of 3. The third selection is Mill Green in the 18 minutes past 3 race at Haydock, paying 4 places instead of 3. And finally, for this bet, Serious Operator in the 425 at Haydock, paying 5 places instead of 3. So I'm just going to scroll down to the next bet. So this is the next bet. So once again, it's 35 pence each way singles and a 10 pence each way Yankee. The first selection is Moitier at 12 to 1 in the 157 at Wincanton. This horse has been off ages, and I've been through this race, and it's a dreadful race. So it makes you wonder why they're actually keeping this horse in training. So if it doesn't get in the first 3, well, they probably wasted the time keeping it in training because it's a dreadful race. So I've taken the price because in my opinion, if the connection actually fancies the horse or the trainer fancies the horse, it will not be that price. But if it's unfancied, it may be a bigger price, but it could well finish nowhere. You know what I mean? So the second selection is River Chorus at 20 to 1 in the 213 race at Lingfield. The reason I've gone for this horse is I backed it recently, and it's kind of been a bit unlucky and a bit dreadful as well. But it ran in this race last year, which is quite interesting for such a low rated horse to run in the same race again the following year as well. And it actually bled from the nose and something else. Maybe ran 2-3 or something like that. Anyway, there's a couple of excuses. So I think at 20 to 1, it's definitely worth an interest. One of my kind of like naps of the day is the Wolf in the 225 at Ascot, paying 5 places instead of 3. Basically, it's just one of the horses that I really fancy. I backed it last time I tipped it last time as well when it ran at Musselburgh in a big race round there. I think over 3 mile 4 or 3 mile 6, and it was tanking all the way round. And then when push came to shove, it didn't find a great deal. Well, I think it's 3 mile the race tomorrow, so hopefully and it's also back with its regular jockey. Is it Andrew Heskin or Adrian Heskin? So the Wolf. But I've left the price. It's about 25 to 1 now. So if you fancy that price, take it if you want to. So the fourth selection is Wear a Pink Ribbon in the 520 at Wincanton, paying 4 places instead of 3. And as I said, it's a 10 pence each way Yankee and 35 pence each way singles, comes to a 5 again. And the final horse racing bet is So what I've gone for, I haven't gone for a Yankee. I've actually gone for each way doubles, and I've increased the stake. I've had no singles. So let's get into it. So I've gone. I'll explain the stakes further down. So all you need to do at the moment is add these horses to your bet slip. So the first selection is the Wolf at 25 to 1 in the 225 at Ascot. The second selection is Snow Leopardess. I've left the price in the 240 at Haydock. An interesting thing for those that like to go through the form or breeding, if you go through some of the breeding, you will notice that some of the relatives of Snow Leopardess have improved for either first time application of tongue strap or first time application of headgear. And they've actually shown massive increase in performance. And Snow Leopardess it's getting on a bit now, and it's the first time it's actually wore cheek pieces tomorrow. So let's see what happens. So, but I do think that also is running into a bit of form anyway. The third selection is Jello. I've left the price in the 3 o'clock at Ascot, paying 5 places instead of 3. And finally, Danny Whizbang in the 10 past 4 at Ascot, paying 5 places instead of 3. I believe this also been messed around with. I think it's off a decent mark now. It's getting on a bit, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's a fantastic race. I think there's a few horses that have been winning, but that ultimately now they're reaching like the highest handicap mark they've ever reached. So they will have to improve again. So 40 pence each way doubles. Keep those in your bet slip and put them all on at the same time. I've gone for 15 pence each way trebles and 9 pence each way fourfolds. And then finally, this is just I think this was the second bet, the singles that you can see. So forget those. You've already placed those. So here's the football bet. So we've basically placed, I think it's about £30. So if you have the football bet, I've gone for over 2.5 goals. So it's a £6 treble. Over 2.5 goals, and the teams or the matches are Chelsea versus Southampton, Middlesbrough versus QPR, and Ipswich versus Forest Green. If you place that, if you put all the stakes on the same as me, and we get that bet up, that bet on its own pays for the entire day. I think basically, apart from 70 pence. So that's a £6 over 2.5 goals treble. So let's get into the next bet, which is a £2.75 treble over 3.5 goals treble, and it's the same teams again: Ipswich and Forest Green, Chelsea and Southampton, and Middlesbrough and QPR. Then finally, it's a £1. The reason why it's a £1.26 treble is because it would have left me with 1 pence in the account. So instead of £1.25, I put a £1.26 treble on. And once again, it's the same teams again. I don't know why they keep putting them in different order. So, is it the price, I think? So it's a £1.26, or for me, it's a £1.26 treble, over 4.5 goals treble, the Middlesbrough match, the Chelsea match, and it's not the prices, and the Chelsea match and the Ipswich match. So those are all the bets. I wish you every luck for Saturday, no matter what you decide to do. And as I say, or as I always say, is if you can't afford £30, split it to 15, but reduce the stakes. Try and place every single bet, but reduce every single stake by half. I know some are awkward because of the minimum stake requirements, but just do what you can. What you could do is you could see how some of the horses run in the early afternoon races. And then you'll realise you've got maybe a bit of something to come back. And then you don't mind placing the football bet later, just as long as it's placed before 3 o'clock. So that's when they kick off. So the very best of luck. Charlie Winters, over and out. Cheers, mate.